Yes, hello everyone. So soon we're going to finish up with the IELTS writing task 1. We've done so far, we've looked at charts and tables with date and without date. We've also looked at maps, and today we'll look at the last thing, that is diagrams. And I think most of the things that we are going to say, we've already learned them. But just to focus on, to be more specific to diagrams, how to go about it. So of course, you need to plan your essay, and we'll look at a sample essay. We'll look at a little bit about linking words. Passive words, we've already talked about them, but I'll make mention of it again. Yeah, so we have a sample question here. Jackie, can you please read the question?
The diagram shows how geothermal energy is used to produce electricity. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Write at least 150 words.
Okay, good. So just to look at the word geothermal, geo has to do with earth. That's why we have geography. Thermal has to do with heat. So heat from the earth, energy, how it is used to produce electricity. So of course, one thing that you need to take note is that usually with diagrams where it's talking about the process, you will see the numbers there. So you have the stages, stage 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you need to take note of them. Okay, so these are 5 main steps. And fortunately, you have the dimensions given. So we have here the injection well, and we also have the production well. So we have 2 wells here. What comes down here is the cold water. What goes up is hot water. And fortunately, with diagrams like this, you have every step written in there for you. So they are your main groups, and you need to talk about all of them. So we can see here the geothermal zone, hot rocks. We also have the condenser with a steam, and we've got a turbine powered by the steam. So you can see that the turbine is being powered by the steam, and the turbine will also powered by the turbine and produces electricity. So the turbine will therefore act on the generator to produce electricity. So they expect you to talk about everything here. Now you can, as part of your overall, decide to divide the 5 steps into, let's say, 2 steps or 3 steps. So, for example, the first, you can have all the steps above the ground as 1 step, all the steps below the ground as the other. So above the ground and below. Or you can have a step where we have the injection step, the heat production step, and the electricity production step. It's all up to you. You can decide to do however you want to summarize the diagram. It's up to you. There's nothing like a wrong answer. Okay, but just make sure you are doing the right thing. So let's go over them. So first of all, let's find the main groups of the data. How many stages are there in the diagram? So let me just use this one so you can see. So basically we have 5 to 6 steps here. What are these stages? So we've got cold water is pumped underground is the first step. The water heats up, the second step. The hot water is pumped back to the surface, the third step. The steam from the hot water produces steam in the condenser. The steam rotates the turbine, which powers the generator, and then electricity is transferred to the national grid. So here we can see the electricity is transferred to everybody.
You mean we need to use the available information and then we need to paraphrase, right?
Yes.
Paraphrase. And then so how can I describe this project or diagram if I don't have any experiences about that?
Yeah, but if you don't, you have every step actually here.
Only take a look and
Yes.
describe by our
Look at the
opinion.
picture. Yes, look at the picture and the steps given here. Look at it. Water pumped down. Okay. So cold water is pumped down. That's the first one, you see. Then here we can see that there are some rocks, hot rocks here, and the water has become hot. Okay, so the water, the cold water is now heated up here. Okay, so you may not use the word water heats up, but you can say that the cold water is heated up, or the heat is added to the cold water, something like that, to become hot, or the cold water is made hot here. Then after that, you can see here, water pumped up. It's already written down. So hot water is pumped back to the surface, the Earth's surface. Then here, we know that it is hot water that is pumped. But the hot water becomes gaseous or a steam. Steam simply means gaseous water. So in the condenser, the hot water or steam is drawn out of the hot water. And then here it says that powered by steam. And you can see the diagram that there is a movement that is coiling. So that is rotation. So the turbine rotates. Okay. So they give you the diagram so that it will help you to know what to say. And here, the symbol here of the generator is powered by the turbine and produces electricity. So you can see a diagram, or you can see an arrow and a movement of arrow, which shows that electricity has been produced and then transferred. So you will get all your information from the diagram. You see? All your data is from the diagram.
You mean nothing is wrong and nothing is right? They only check the interviewer. Interviewer, they only check examiner only check the way you are using the words and
exactly
available information they show to you.
Exactly.
And if you know or you understand or you have a little bit experience about it, you will get higher score. Right?
Of course, yeah. Now remember that this one is academic IELTS, so they expect you to have a fair idea, okay? Because you're a student, they know that you're a student and you learn so many things, so they expect you to have a fair idea of what they are talking about.
So I realized that map and diagram are the most difficult, just one, right?
Some will say it's the easiest, some will say it's the most difficult. It depends on your experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the last time I heard from Mr. Abe, he told
Yeah.
he told all of us process and math are very easy.
Yeah, easy.
But for me, the first time, maybe this is the first time I take a look, or I haven't um, checking a road tag. That's reason I feel confusing a little bit. Maybe I need to do more exercises.
Okay. Okay, so let's continue. Select and report the main features. So, what are the key objects of the diagram? And what are the key processes at each stage? Okay, so we know we have the cold water pump, we have the injection well here, we have the production well here, we have the turbine and generator. There are a few things you need to take note of. The processes, we have already talked about it. So now that you have everything ready, you must have your introduction, your overview combined, body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, and that's it. Okay, so to prepare for your overview, at least few things are important. We have the first thing being cold water. The cold water goes through the geothermal zone and heat is produced or steam is produced. The steam then combines with the turbine and generator to produce electricity. At the end of the day, electricity is produced. So with this in mind, you can make a nice sentence, 1 or 2 sentences, okay, using these ideas here. So Jackie, can you try? Can you use the vocabulary here to make 1 or 2 sentences?
Oh my God.
Just try.
I'm confusing, bro. I'm confusing.
Don't get confused. Just like you are teaching your student, you're talking about how cold water, okay. So the entire process is using cold water, which goes through the geothermal zone to produce steam. The steam is then passed through a turbine, which rotates to generate electricity using the generator. Finished. Okay, so you can say overall, you start with that, overall, or to summarize, cold water is passed through a geothermal zone, which produces electricity, or which produces steam. The steam is then passed through a turbine, which causes the turbine to rotate to produce electricity using a generator. I'm done. Okay, so you might find it helpful to compare what you had at the very beginning and the very end of the process and what ingredients or tools were required. So put that one in mind. So what did you have in the beginning? You had the cold water. What did you have in the end? You had electricity. What do you have in the middle? You have a steam. So the cold water goes through the geothermal zone, steam is produced, and then the steam is used to generate electricity.
You mean before we want to do, or before we want to write down essay, just 1 or 2, we need to prepare outline first, and
Yeah,
then
of
when we
course.
write down, we will not confusing.
Yes.
We only take a look there and
Yes. Once you have a very good outline, good for you.
determine about keywords.
Yeah, the keywords to write down. Okay. So let's see, what do we have here? So your introduction.
Yeah.
Jackie, can you read the introduction and overview?
The diagram illustrates the process of electricity generation in a geothermal station. Overall, the key ingredients for a geothermal station are a water supply and an underground geothermal zone, which heats up the water to produce steam. The energy of the steam is then converted into electricity via a turbine and a
Turbine
generator,
and a generator.
turbine and a
Okay.
generator.
Do you get it? It's easy. So let's go over one more time. And just expand this.
Oh, they collect introduction and overall.
Yes, it must be together. That's one paragraph. Okay. So first of all, the introduction is gotten from the question. The diagram illustrates the process of electricity generation in a geothermal station. Now, overall, we know that the key ingredients for the geothermal station are a water supply and an underground geothermal zone, which heats up the water to produce steam. The energy of the steam is then converted into electricity via a turbine and a generator. Okay. Now, from there, we move on to the main body paragraph. So, with the main body paragraph, you talk about the stages and you bring in every detail. In the first stage, cold water is pumped underground through an injection well. Is that the case? So let me show you here. Oh, come on. Sorry, my mouse wasn't showing. Yep. So in the first stage, the cold water is pumped underground through an injection well. That is the case here. Cold water is pumped underground through an injection well, pumped down, pumped underground through an injection well. You can even bring the height or the depth. So the injection well is 4.5 kilometers through an injection well to a depth of 4.5 kilometers, which is the level where the geothermal zone has been found. So the geothermal zone is where it's below 4.5 kilometers well. That is where the geothermal zone is. Then it says here that if there is a bracket here, hot rocks. So you want to describe the geothermal zone. So once the water reaches this level, it flows horizontally and accumulates heat from the hot rocks located in this area. So once the water reaches here, it travels horizontally across the geothermal zone and absorbs heat from the geothermal zone. After that, we move on to the next stage. In the next stage, the hot water, you have to be specific, is pumped through a production well back up to the surface and into a condenser room. Okay, you can say a condenser chamber, a condenser container.
Number 4.
Yes, so we got here, the hot water is pumped up the surface into something, into a condenser. space or room, that is where, so using pronouns well, that is where the hot water produces steam. So you can see that in the condenser, steam is produced, which is then directed into a turbine. The steam rotates the turbine, activating a generator to produce electricity. Finally, the electricity is transferred to the national grid. So 161 words, at least 150, you make 160, you make, it's okay, it's good. So IELTS Task 1 is that easy. If you know, yes, it's that easy, especially if you know what you are supposed to do. Because with diagrams, you have every information given you. Just try and use some synonyms to replace some words. Yeah, for example, pump down, it said pumped underground. The geothermal zone is found here. It moves, the water moves horizontally to the production well, heat up, and then it is pumped, hot water is pumped outside into the condenser. Then here, that is where steam is produced, and the steam also turns the turbine or rotates the turbine, which then causes the generator to produce electricity. Finally, the electricity is transferred to everybody to use. So it's that easy if you know what you are doing. So I think I gave you these questions. If I haven't given you, yeah, I gave you some of them, but not all of them. So make sure you practice them, write, make a mistake, let's go through it. Then you correct yourself, then you improve on your writing skills. The best way to write is to write. The best way to write is not to read. Some students will just go and read sample essays and they will think that that is all. No, it's not. You need to write yourself. You need to practice writing yourself. The more you practice, the better it becomes.
Yep, that's right.
So please make sure that with the assignments I've given you, you do them.
Yep, bro.
And
okay, so when we finish every lesson, can you, I mean, when you finish teaching for me about pie chart, can you send the picture and the simple essay? I will say on my computer, and then I take a look and write down. I mean, when you finish teaching for me, I mean, today you will teach about for me pie chart or line graph.
Yeah, but we've done that already. So if you want to get the sample essays, then you need to refer to the video because we've got it in the video.
Yeah. I got it. I can see the video, but if you can send to me, it's very convenient.
Yeah, I don't want to share every material. That's the thing.
Yeah, I will see the videos. But when I write down the essay, you will correct for me, right?
Definitely, that's what I have to do.
Every week?
Yes, once you have the essays done, sent to me, I'll go through it and then I'll just get back to you.
Yeah, bro.
Okay. Okay, good.
Yeah, the best way
to... with the IELTS Task 1, we will use the rest of the time to look at IELTS Task 2, introduce, just start with the introduction of IELTS Task 2.
Yeah, bro.
Let me just pause it.